I can't remember a time where the fixed rate was 0.75% lower than the variable, and still people were reluctant to go fixed. Like that's crazy. Like typically, even if they're at par, it's like, well, might as well take the fixed, but now it's almost a full percent lower, and people are still like, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not feeling it.
You're listening to the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast with your hosts, Paul Stevenson, David Warren, and Greg Campbell. Let's see what's going on in the world of real estate today.
Hello. There we go. We're back. We're live. Always some surprises when you're recording live, and it's only two of us today, but we're happy to be here. It's myself, Paul Stevenson. I'm here with David Warren. Hello, David.
Hello, sir.
Greg.
Hello.
Greg was planning to be on, but moments before the show, the worst thing happened. His car didn't start. He was trying to get over to, I think, a family dinner actually, and he was going to be recording from there. And these things happen in Canada. We're absolutely ridiculous to live in a country where you get 40 centimeters of snow in a week, and if you fall asleep outside, you die. So. Here we are. These things happen. And if you see someone on the side of the road and their car's dead, help them. It's the holiday season. How was the week, Dave? It's Monday, right? Today? I'm losing track of time.
It is Monday. Week was good. We weren't on last week, unfortunately, but week was pretty good. No real complaints. Got out. I just made it on here in time. We took Oliver to go meet Santa. So,
Was he scared or excited?
No, he can definitely be stolen by anybody. He doesn't care about strangers. Even the homeless looking guy with a beard that's a little yellow from his smoking, doesn't care. Doesn't care. He's ready to go.
Santa's helpers took off with him. Yeah.
100%.
Where did you guys go? Rito?
Yeah, Reno Center. Yeah, but it was pretty good. They actually had an area where you could schedule, book a time, so you're not waiting in line for ages.
Imagine that.
Yeah,
that's very 2022 of them. That's great. I've never heard of that. Well, maybe they do that already. I haven't taken my kids to see Santa in many years, so I don't. That could be going on for the last decade. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Greg says he's going to be on in 2 minutes, so we're going to get a blessing.
And so you're down in the sun.
I'm in the
checking
sun.
out real estate there, looking at the.
Yeah, this billion dollar resort here. I've been here since last Sunday and leaving Wednesday. So it was a good way to kind of wrap up the year. The year's been nuts, to be honest. I was looking through, I got pulled in, I got hooked on social media. Oh, first of all, if you guys have questions, throw them in the comments. We are live, so we're gonna be answering questions throughout the show. I was going through photos this year. I got hooked on social media. They had this make your 2022 in review in 60 photos. And I'm like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. Download the app, a 3-day free trial, the whole nine. And then I select all my photos. And as I'm going through my photos, I'm like, oh my God, that was also this year. I was thinking of me and the kids in Tremblant, and then Jackson and I in Chicago, and then, being in Colombia. And then there's just been so many things that have happened in 2022 that it feels like the year has been 5 years long. It's crazy how much has happened in 12 months. So this is our last show of the year. So it's kind of a year in review, a summary. And I would say that the highlight this year, at least for real estate, has been the rate increases, right? We've seen so many, and not to flog a dead horse, but that's been all the talk. We've obviously dealt with many, many conversations about rates. And one of the email questions we have, which I actually have a few here from the last couple of days, one of them said, is that Greg? Hold on. I'm going to pause the question. Gregory, are you there?
I'm here. I'm in the dark.
In the dark, wearing all black.
It's very dark.
Greg is
he's actually in the middle of a break and enter. He's in the middle of a break and enter of some stranger's house. That's how we actually got connection.
Guys, what a day.
He broke into someone's house to get their Wi-Fi, and here he is.
I figured it out. And one thing I didn't forget is I have a massive glass of wine that I deserve right now.
Wow.
I deserve every sip of this.
I really like that. I actually have some champagne in my room. I'm going to go get that when you guys start chatting. I was just saying, Greg, right before you came on, that this year felt like it has been forever. Like I was going through my photos from this year, and photos from January feel like they're 3-4 years ago. Like 2022 feels like it just has never ended. But at the same time, it feels like I can't believe it's December. So it's been a very, very wild year, 2022.
Yeah, it's I can't really believe that Christmas is Saturday. That's
Sunday.
That's been the biggest kind of like, okay, so it's Christmas Saturday, I guess so. But it makes sense that why I'm so mentally kind of like checked out recently. I'm ready to do my yearly social media shut off. I'm finding myself paying too much attention to social media, and it's starting to affect my mind. So I'm happy to be for the holidays to be piecing out from that.
That's a very good idea. I think we could all benefit from that. Maybe tune into who's right in front of us instead of who's across the planet, showing us how great how great their life is.
Yeah.
I heard someone say once on a podcast that humans aren't designed to know what's happening to 7 billion people. Like we're meant to be in like small groups of 150 people. Everyone knows everyone. Everyone knows who the cheater is, the liar, the supporter, the hunter, the this and that. But when you're dealing with 7 billion people, you're only getting like the snapshots of the best part of their day, the best part of life, which isn't even true. It's all curated, right? So it just makes you constantly feel shitty about yourself. Like, well, I should be doing more. Look at how great their life is. I'm so average, but mediocrity is really like the outliers are outliers for a reason. If everyone was exceptional, then like nobody would be exceptional, So it's important to reflect on that. I'm happy you're noticing that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, with everything in the media too, right? I'm just like, I just need to stop paying attention for a bit and just chill. I mean, I do my best to focus on the fam and everything, but sometimes it just gets there's a lot of stuff going on in the mind, a lot of noise, a lot of fluff.
Well, this is our last show of the year, so we are going to take 2 weeks off as well. But let's start back. Let's just kind of do maybe a year in review for real estate. So I was saying to Dave right before you came on that one of the things that has obviously, to me at least, been the biggest headline for 2022 is the rate increases, right? And inflation, and everyone trying to tame inflation with this. And the market has seen a massive shift. last December to this December, we've seen some biggest changes. So what, in your opinions, while I go grab my champagne, which in your opinions are the biggest changes that we've seen, I guess, in 2022?
To me, on my side, obviously being in mortgages, has been exactly as Paul mentioned, the 7 rate increases and 7 consecutive rate increases, bringing us from an overnight rate of 0.25 to 4.25 over the last, 3/4 of a year. And to that note has been the fact that even as of yesterday, there was an interesting article, an interview from Tiff McCallum, our governor of Bank of Canada, stating that at the beginning of 2022 that he was completely wrong. He was talking about at the beginning of the year that rates would stay low and that he saw inflation at the end of 2022 being 2%, not being at 7%. And so I thought that was an interesting admission by him. But with that increase, that he was kind of pushing along more people to borrow, businesses, home buyers, stating rates are going to be low, for an indefinite period of time. Made the market go like crazy. Beginning of this year, very few would have foreseen where we'd be at the end of this year. And so to go up 4% in the overnight rate is, to me, is wild, and how that, really, free money wasn't going to last forever. And if you thought that, you're out to lunch yourself, but for it to change so quickly and not be just a gradual and up to a normal, rate and kind of stay there, to be such a quick and aggressive increase and kind of seeing that downturn in the market has been certainly what's.
So you mean when they told us that rates are going to stay low for a long time and to borrow as much money as you can, they were wrong?
Yeah, I know. Unbelievable.
Yeah, Yeah, I was actually talking to one of our mutual friends recently, and he was telling me, he's like, the last 2 years has been like all stimulus. Like they've just been basically handing out free money. Like it's it's just basically keeping rates low, creating all sorts of incentives to hand out cash. And now we're paying for it, obviously, and in increased rates, increased costs of everything. It's a very unique position, I think, that we're in right now, as far as I think this holiday season is going to be very challenging for many families. And I think, leading into next year too, as we've been saying for the last month or so, January, February, March, I think is when we're going to really see a large downturn in people's finances and things like that. Just, the economy, who knows where the market's been stagnant for a bit. It seems like it's hit a bit of a resistance level, but generally speaking, like that can shift on a dime, right? I mean, that can drop really quickly, or it can, who knows, in January, some people might take their homes off the market and, we might see prices go up again. I mean, it's really, I would say, the most unpredictable right now than it's been in the recent past. Would you guys agree with that?
I think what's going to happen, well, what I'm seeing right now is I probably mentioned this on the last show. Like, I'm seeing a lot of vacant properties. There's a lot. When I go out, I had some buyers in from Toronto last week. They were, or on just a couple days ago, they were amazing. Moving to Ottawa, we went out and saw a bunch of properties in Orleans. Actually, I think 50% of them were vacant. Actually, I think 60% of them were vacant. So 6 out of 10 were vacant.
Wow.
And they were asking me, like, why are they vacant? And, why are they selling type thing? But, you don't have those conversations with the agent until, you know that your clients are really interested in the property. Then you kind of go forward and have that conversation. But my opinion was that, these people have they've bought a new build. They might've bought it a year and a half ago, and now they've moved in, but they didn't anticipate that they would have such a hard time selling their house. So now they just have this vacant property, and they expected, or they needed a certain amount of money from it. Maybe they're having problem leveraging the mortgage. Maybe now they're at a point where they have to drop the price to sell it, to keep up with their new property. Or some people, they just sold, they're moving into the new house. But that's what I think is happening right now. You might find a couple that were initially bought as investments, and now that investor is realizing that they can't hold it any longer, so they have to sell it for less. Anyways, it's really interesting to see. But I also made the comment that, these properties were just okay. They were okay. There's a lot of okay properties on the market right now. There's not a lot of spectacular homes on the market. There's some, at the higher end of things, but those are sitting as well. So what I predict is that, as we've said before, it always takes the first one, middle of January, end of January, one home comes out, and then it sells, and then it sets the standard for what's about to happen. And then the people that have homes that they want to sell in the new year, that are more renovated, more upgraded, whatever, they're going to hit the market. And all the buyers that have been just kind of either waiting for that or not finding what they want now, they're all going to come out, and then they're all just going to start being active again. And I'm not saying it means multiple offers or not, but I'm saying that for the prices to go down, with the amount of activity and the amount of buyers that I know are still looking, I don't think it's going any lower than where it's at right now, regardless of inflation, regardless of all that stuff.
I agree. Yeah. I that's my expectation as well, is that I think we're pretty much as close to the bottom as we're going to get, maybe a slighter dip, but it's amazing from a mental standpoint, the mindset. As soon as that calendar flips over to January 1st, it's like a fresh slate. It's a fresh slate. New year, new me. I'm going to start buying homes,
And now they're used to the rate, even with the increase again. They're used to it. The general consensus, they're talking about, you keep hearing fixed rates are coming down from all the YouTubers out there, all the guys that I follow. Fixed rates are coming down. Everybody's expecting it. I had 2 buyers that they said to me, they said, you know what, I think I might wait because, I'm hearing and I'm talking to people, about the rates coming down on the fixed rates. And I'm like, man, that's fine. I go, but the longer you wait, I go, remember, that's later. I go, if you're thinking that, there's also thousands of other buyers thinking the same thing. I go, so what do you think's going to happen when the rates drop and then the homes come back on the market? Now you're in competition again, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've definitely seen, last week, or 2 weeks ago, I guess, Bank of Canada increased. We didn't do a show last week. So Bank of Canada increased the overnight rate, or, bank prime, by another 0.5%. But the same time, over the last 2 weeks, fixed rates, to Greg's point, have been coming down. Mm-hmm. And we've seen them coming down since their June high. They continue to come down. There was drops again this evening and last night, on a 5-year fixed insured, meaning putting, your primary residence, putting less than 20% down. You're getting anywhere from 4.77 to 4.89 in that range on a 5-year fixed. And we are seeing them come down. So even though the variable rate and the prime's going up, we are seeing the converse effect on fixed, which, to your point, is what most predominantly people have been watching historically in Canada. Is people have been getting, it's always weighted more towards the fixed. So it'll be interesting to see, to your point, of the psychology of, as these rates come down, and if in January, February, there aren't any changes by the Bank of Canada to prime because they're happy with where we're at, how much, that's going to instill a lot more confidence from buyers in the market. And it'll be interesting to see how many do flood back, and how that changes things that are just waiting in the wings.
I can't remember a time where the fixed rate was 0.75% lower than the variable, and still people were reluctant to go fixed. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Like, typically, even if they're at par, it's like, well, might as well take the fixed, but now it's almost a full percent lower, and people are still like, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not feeling it. The other thing I was thinking too is, Greg, you were talking about people, pulling equity out, buying other properties, money's free, taking variable rates and so on. I wonder how many people leveraged up to 80%. It would be an interesting stat, up to 80%, and then home prices dropped. So now their loan to value is actually probably closer to maybe 90%, and they don't have an insured mortgage. So I don't think that's talked about. I haven't seen it talked about anywhere. But I would imagine people that leveraged up to 80%, their home drops 10%, that's no longer an 80% loan to value. They're closer to 85, 90%. So I wonder how many mortgages in Canada are not insured that are over that 80% loan to value currently.
I'd love to hear it. And I'd also like to, I know there's no way to find out the statistic, but the amount of people that leverage their homes to either pay off debt or buy a new vehicle or invest in stocks or invest in crypto right before everything kind of, I won't say collapsed, but before everything, dropped. I'd really like to know. There's no way to know that number, but I bet there's a lot of people that did that. And I know I've said it on the show before, I had friends who were in Calgary when the first big boom happened out there, and they were very conservative with their spending, but they saw tons of people like buy the big house, buy the boats, buy the quads, buy the cars, and then they saw them all get taken away within 12 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not the same. It's not quite the same as what happened in the States, but that's what people were doing, right? It's like they were just leveraging to the teats, and then just buying everything they can.
People like things.
This is shiny. I like it.
What I do like though now about this time that we're in is that I think there is going to be way more. There's more opportunities to either start a different job while you're doing what you do, or for young kids to take advantage of all the online entrepreneurship type businesses that you can do out there. And I want to see how that reflects into real estate, because I think, coming out of this right now, and even more so, like from what I'm seeing online, within the next 12 months to 24 months, there's going to be, I don't know, the kids like 15 to 20, there's going to be more 15 to 20 year old millionaires than there has been millionaires at one time, I think, in the next 12 to 24 months. And they're going to be all kids. And I want to know what they're going to do with their money. I want to know if they're even going to care about buying real estate or if they're just going to travel and rent and do whatever.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, our cost of living is absurd, as are many other places around the world. But I mean, there's so many places you can go. Like, you know, I hate to, again, harp on Colombia, but being down there, like it's unbelievable. Like everything is still just as modern, just as beautiful, but the cost is so much lower. Like it's, you know, you can go out with 4 people, have a beautiful meal, drinks, dessert, the whole nine. It's like $40 Canadian. You know, it'd be 400 in Ottawa. And I understand there's obviously different metrics associated with that, but there are places, to your point, Greg, that you can live for much less. And if you have that $1 million or whatever, you can live for many, many years in those sorts of places without having to add another dollar to your net worth. You know,
Mm-hmm. For sure.
There was an interesting article this morning, which kind of, you know, goes to what the kind of the state of our market has been, and the psychology of buyers too, actually more so. Cause I was looking through people's comments the last few shows to see if there's any, you know, good questions we hadn't answered or anything like that. And, you know, there's some people, you know, blaming, you know, realtors and mortgage brokers and, you know, banks and lenders and all that, you know, not looking at the buyer's side and, you know, which I thought was obviously interesting. I think it was one of you two kind of responded saying like, you know, buyers need to take it on themselves as well. And there was an article this morning in the CBC talking about a development in Toronto where 60 of the properties, the buyers for each of the properties have asked for delays in their closing because the home values have dropped anywhere from $200,000 to $300,000. I was like, oh wow, that's, you know, it's called Paradise something is the
it's always Paradise.
The development's actually Paradise something or other.
Paradise Hotel.
I want to go there.
But the crazy, I'm trying to find the article right now, CBC, Paradise Developments, is that the person, the couple being interviewed bought a place for $1.97 million, did $90,000 in upgrades. He's an Uber driver. Like, I'm not speaking ill of Uber drivers here, but
doesn't make sense.
I just don't. This is where I don't understand. Like people, you know, like the comments on our, you know, on our YouTube page or stuff like that, or you know, get thrown at us of like it's our fault. And I mean ours and like realtors and mortgage brokers that we're the ones. But home buyers need to take it on themselves as well. Like how, you know, the comment is, so here we go. First time home buyer agreed in October 2021.
First time home buyer.
Yeah. $1.959 million plus $90,000 upgrades for a single detached home that would house himself, his wife, their 2 children, his mother. We thought if we lived hand to mouth, we could still afford it, meaning barely like at all. Appraisal home value estimated the home value at 1.7, 300,000 less than they agreed to pay for, and pushing payments that they would be upwards of 12 to 15,000 a month. Me and my wife, it's hold on, where is it? Where comments of yeah, we thought we lived hand to mouth, we could still afford it. An Uber driver who also earns his income as a property manager. Like, like home buyers, like, so I get it, Uber driver, great. But like, where's the, like, who's checking that? Like, what builder is checking that? What buyer also is being guided or believes that those payments are being made on a regular basis?
Yeah.
Is crazy.
Maybe
I'm hoping
maybe he met the people that were on CBC Marketplace.
Yeah,
maybe.
That's true. That's true.
Don't worry, brother. We'll take care of you.
We will make the income.
We'll make the income for you,
dude. That's like a $9,000 a month payment, roughly, like $8,500 to $9,000 a month.
More than
that's
that.
more than hand
to
mouth.
It's going to be 12 to 15.
Oh, there you go. There you go. That's more than hand to mouth. That's maybe foot to mouth is a better.
Just they're more like foot in your ass. Excuse me. That's crazy. That is just nuts.
But I bring this up more so like, you know, not I don't mean to, you know, laugh at these 60 families that have signed these purchase agreements, but at the same time, it's like these 60 families, yes, the values dropped, get it. They're not the only ones. They bought in a high price range. I've seen purchase agreements on new builds in Ottawa coming in $100,000 less than their purchase price. And people one couple deciding to move forward, the other couple investigating what the legal ramifications are to them. There's a higher price range, so the larger drop. But even at that drop to 1.7, 1.6, it still boggles my mind that there are buyers out there that aren't getting any sort of proper guidance or getting vetted properly. Any sort of like even the builder like doing something. So I'm curious to see, especially for builders, what changes coming out of this, ramp up over the last 2 years of home sales and prices. Them building and expecting and pricing that things are going to continue to escalate and boom, and builders price things 3 years out, 2 years out of like prices now, but what it's going to be as well, and cost of materials and securing the land and all that. But I'm curious to see what builders do for additional vetting, on a go forward basis. But anyways, I'll post the article here so we can share it.
So not a single question yet in the chat, I have to say. If anyone's tuning in, just let us know you're there. Let us know you're breathing.
I think that just tells us nobody cares and nobody's tuning in, Paul.
We actually met right before last week's show, right before I left, and we were kind of brainstorming some changes, updates to the show, how we want to go moving forward. And I just wanted to, anyone who's listening to this after the fact, or if you're listening live, we'd love to hear your feedback too, obviously, as listeners. Like, what would you like to see from us that's maybe different than what we're doing, or maybe in addition to? I do have a few questions here, though, that were emailed to us recently. So I'll throw them out there and we can just we can hit them head on. So the first one, which we kind of touched on, it says, where are rates heading in 2023? That's a question we get asked often. Stephen, do you have that chart? Actually, I wanted to just, it might be a good time at least to, we can kind of speak to it while we're discussing. I don't know if you guys can see that. It might be a bit too small.
It's too small for me, but go ahead.
It's a historic chart of the Bank of Canada overnight rate, or at least the rate changes since 2010. So it actually shows kind of the fluctuation up and down. And having 7 rate increases this year is like definitely the most we've seen in the last decade, over a decade. But not to say that there isn't changes. Like in 2010, there was 3 changes. Then there was no change till 2015. 2 changes in 2015, 2 changes in 2017, 3 changes in 2018, 3 changes in 2020, and then 7 in 2022. So, not that anyone has a crystal ball other than Greg, but I would imagine in 2023, we probably will see, and I know we've said this over and over, but I think we'll probably see rates kind of stagnate and likely start to dip again, at least variable, somewhere late, like probably third quarter, fourth quarter. So I think where rates are now is enough of a pinch. It's probably more of a punch, to be honest, than a pinch. But I think it will give the result that they're looking for, which is people to kind of limit their spending, focus on the financial things that they think matter. And I think we're going to see a lot of defaults for car loans, student loans, things like that. I think people are going to be in very tight financial positions, or at least late payments, a lot of stuff going to collections. So I don't know what impact that's going to have on the overall economy. Dave, you might be able to weigh in a bit more on that based on your background. But I just feel like we're going to see a lot of people very financially stressed in 2023. Stressed as in like tight, not, I mean, they're going to be stressed out as well, but I mean, financially stressed. So I think just because of that, there's a lot of Canadians that aren't like, just literally can't afford any further rate increases. And I think this is, it's loud and clear now that people need to get their shit in order. And I think that we're going to see that. So I think we won't see too many, I don't think we'll see any more rate increases. And I think we'll probably see the variable rates come down. I'm going to say probably end of Q3, early Q4. So by this time next year, I think we'll probably see the Bank of Canada rate down maybe 0.5% from where it is today.
You think it'll take that long, eh?
Yeah.
I think they'll let it ride for a while just to see how it actually impacts things. Like if they change it again in March, like if they bring it down again early next year.
I feel like they're going to drop it a quarter in July.
No,
That's my guess.
so
A quarter.
that's very that's
And my thinking is this: I think they're going to drop it a quarter, because just to test it, because it's summer. Some people will go away. They'll see what happens. They'll drop it a quarter, see how it affects the spending. Market will be like, people will be on vacation. The people that stick around and they want to buy in the summer, they'll get their little quarter discount. They'll go shopping. Be some good deals, I think, next summer. Anyways, that's my theory.
So next year Bank of Canada published the dates of when they'll be making any announcements. So end of January, March, April, June. Typically it takes 4 to 5 months from rate increases for that data to actually ripple through the economy and for that to really make an impact. So I'm on Paul. I'm right there with you as well. I think if by April, so the April 12th is that third announcement. If there hasn't been anything over that period of time, like a reasonable drop where we're now in the 6s for inflationary numbers, I could see an increase in June. But I think with where we're at and how quickly they come up, I think an increase. If by June, by the end, April 12th is the third rate announcement. If at that time, like in April, mid-April and May, that there hasn't been any significant drop from 7% into the high fives, whatever it may be, and it's maintained being stagnant as far as inflationary numbers, then they're going to have to increase because their target is 2%. However, I do believe, to Paul's point, I think what they've done is significant enough that it is going to have the intended purpose that they have. I mean, I think we all hear it from our own families, from our own friends. It's definitely a hot topic. But not speaking light of it, I do think that it is going to have the intended impact that they're planning. And if it does maintain that way and we start getting inflation starts getting in that 4% range, into the high 4s by come Q4, that they'll start to drop slowly at a latest point, Q1 of 2024.
I have a theory.
Let's hear it.
Ethereum or Ethereum?
I have a
Ethereum.
Insolvency.
Both.
my theory is that insolvency is going to become a massive trend in 2023, and that many people are going to become insolvent because they're also going to understand that if you're insolvent and you wipe your debt, but you still make great income, the B lenders will look at your income and they won't care if you're insolvent or not. So you can pay a higher interest rate and still get a property, but you could wipe off hundreds of thousands of debt if you have it. And in some circumstances, you can keep your house while being insolvent.
This isn't official financial advice, by the way.
No. And exactly. Thank you for saying this isn't. This is my theory. Whereas, and I think what's happening right now is the government making a big mistake. I understand what they're doing, and it was the mistake of dropping it too low to begin with. But I think there's going to be a large number of the population who are going to understand, because the information is there and it's out there, that if they file consumer proposals or bankruptcy, there's still ways around it. They can wipe that debt, they can get money, and the government doesn't get that money back. And that's through the legal system. So I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but I just have this, I see things, and it's just something that I think about because it's starting to trend. You're seeing more firms come up as file for consumer proposal, file bankruptcy. We can help you with it. Don't worry about it. We know you're in trouble. Consolidate your debt. And so there's going to be more people that have to do that and who are confused, worried that their life's going to be over, that their homes are going to get taken, their cars and everything's going to get taken. But that's not the case. That's not the case. There's lots of ways around it where you can keep certain things. And I think that because of all the information that's out there, we're going to see more of that. It's going to start trending. And then there's going to be a lot of debt that is just completely wiped. And then I don't know what is going to happen after that.
So Dave, from a macroeconomics standpoint, if people do that, or as I said, start defaulting on car loans and things like that, how does that impact the overall economy nationally?
Well, I mean, the companies still incurred that debt.
Yeah.
So, Visa or your bank, they loaned that money that was spent that went to a business that got used. So
Sure.
somebody's out that money. It's not getting eaten up by or, vanishing or anything like that. So they make it up. They make it up by leaving interest rates higher, raising interest rates on Visas, on MasterCard, et cetera, from 20% to now being an average of 22.9 or 24, or lines of credit be going up, mortgages, because they, again, got to create that margin to make up that loss. And so that's when you will have that other means in which they make it up, which will then perpetuate kind of a longer interest cost cycle. And those that haven't, claimed bankruptcy or a proposal or insolvency, will be the ones carrying that burden.
Yeah, and I think we see that with anything. Like if thousands
you steal
of
a chocolate bar from a grocery store, you steal a chocolate bar from that corner store, they're gonna have to increase prices to make up for that loss.
Yeah, I was thinking insurance. Like a bunch of people make insurance claims. Well, the premiums for insurance are going up because they got to make that money back. We actually have a question here from Gabriel Rios. It says, do you guys think the price of rural homes near Ottawa will be lower next year?
Absolutely. It's already happening. They're dropping. If you want to buy rural, go do it. $100,000 discounts all over the place. I'm doing one tomorrow. It's already dropped 50. Going to offer 50 less than that.
Wow.
It's happening already. And that's just how it is. I've said this before on the show. What gets hit the most when these changes happens. The rural properties are the ones that appreciate the last when the market goes up, and when the market goes down, they depreciate first. They go down. People because the focus is back on the city. I've seen it over and over again. Please, someone correct me if they've seen something else, but I see it. I always see the low level condos like suburban condo townhomes. They get hit, and then the rural properties get hit, and then the $1 million+ properties get hit and drop the most. The ones between 900 to 9 to like 500, those are the ones that stay because that's where the most buyers are, and that's where the most sellers are. So yes, the rural properties, if you want to buy rural, I would start looking now because there's a lot of deals out there. I'm seeing homes. I've been looking at a lot of rural properties lately, and so is my partner Luca. We're seeing homes sell for the same price that they were bought for 2 to 3, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Whereas 6-7 months ago or a year ago, they would have sold for 100, 150 more. So, and these people, for whatever reason, had to sell. They're selling for the same price that they bought for.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it, Gabrielle. Do it. Call me.
It might be Gabriel. Sorry, Gabriel. Gabe.
Oh, Gabriel? Oh, it's a man? Okay, I don't know.
I
was like Gabriel Rios.
I thought it was Gabriel, but it looks like Gabriel Rios.
Gabe.
There's another question we had actually by email that is actually a good segue from that question. It says, what markets in Ottawa do you think will have the highest positive value increases in the coming 5 years? We'll probably all have a different answer on this, but Greg, I'll pass it to you first because you probably have your finger on the pulse.
The highest value increase. Just beautifully maintained homes anywhere. Just anything that's just really nice and maintained, especially in the suburbs where the biggest pockets of buyers are. Like that's always going to be your best bet in terms of resale.
Yeah.
You're going to get your most money. When you're buying an exclusive property that you love because you love it, and you're not thinking that when you go to sell it, the buyer has to be the same as you, and you got it for a deal because it's been on the market forever because it's so unique. Well, when you buy that property, the same thing's going to happen to you when you go to sell. You need another one of you. But in the suburbs, in the subdivisions, if you have a really well-maintained property and you take care of it and you upgrade it in like just a modest way, not over the top, just nice, keep it clean, you'll do fine.
I'm going to pick an area instead of a nice political response like Greg there.
Nice.
I'm actually going to go Vanier. My reasoning being they're finally done Montreal Road.
Yep.
They've finished the redevelopment of it. There are a couple of new buildings that have been built along Montreal Road, and I think there's a big couple strips. It's the same owners, and I think they're for sale as well. So it'll be interesting if they get bought up, and that would turn them around. But I think there's some good positive things going on along Montreal Road, and I think that the street being redeveloped, like just the infrastructure and the lanes and sidewalks and everything, will make a huge impact to the area.
I'll back that. I think anybody buying into Vanier in the next couple of years is going to kill it in the end.
And I know we've been saying this for like 20 years because it's the proximity to downtown, but it seems that, it gets still overlooked. But I think this past couple of years, it put a lot more eyeballs on it, of people trying to find, still nice place to live. And so I do find you actually have more families that have moved into Vanier.
Yeah.
I know there is a big push to get it renamed as the French Quarter officially. No, I'm just joking. But the
What
episode was that? That was a funny one.
I don't know. That was great. I was thinking Vanier too, but I wouldn't be surprised if I know, Stephen, you kind of said that they're Hintonburg East in 10 years, but I wouldn't be surprised if in 10, 15 years people are reminiscing about the old Vanier, like, oh my God, remember when Vanier was seen as this
just
crazy,
prostitutes and drug dealers?
Yeah.
You know what? It's true though. Vanier and then Mechanicsville.
Yeah.
Right? That's another spot. Like not even Hindenburg, Mechanicsville. It's like, that's OG. That's
I also think, I don't know the name.
West Side Vanier.
I don't know the name of the neighborhood. You guys will know it right away. I should know it, but it's basically off the highway at Maitland towards Britannia, like that whole pocket right there. They're building the light rail, like across the highway from IKEA.
Yeah.
Carlington.
Yeah, it could be Carlington, that area.
Yeah, I mean, those are older homes, but I know every time I go by there's someone renovating, someone updating. Like I think, the values in there are pretty consistent. And with the light rail being walking distance, I mean, anywhere along that light rail is going to be Convent Glen. It's going to do great, I'm sure. Beacon Hill obviously is going to continue to do well. Blackburn, I'm sure will see a big bump.
Big time. Anywhere there's an LRT, that's going to be a 10%. As soon as that thing opens, that's a 10% increase, I think, immediately.
Mm-hmm.
The day the LRT opens and works, you got a 10% increase in value.
Bucket.
Hey!
Oh, well, the questions are dry and few.
Well, you know what though? We've been dry. We did not do our jobs. We fell off, I accept responsibility for being a part of that fall off. Greg Campbell from the agency Ottawa, taking accountability for issues with TOREP the last few weeks. But going into the new year, we've got some new things going on. We got some guests coming up. We got some guests, some realtors from Vancouver coming on in January. Another one from a company called End Home coming on.
I think it would be great to give our listeners, different markets across the country that they could also invest in. You don't have to only invest in Ottawa. Dave, I know you have property out east. I know I have clients that have properties in BC and across, Winnipeg and Calgary. And so I mean,
Saskatchewan.
So I think it's really, a really good idea. We were talking about that is bringing in other agents, Greg, from the agency and even mortgage agents across the country. Absolutely. That can give us insight into the different markets and maybe create opportunities for our listeners to invest. We're nearing that 1,000 sub mark as well. We're in the early 900s. So tell a friend to subscribe, make that a Christmas gift to TOREP. Send the link, ask a friend to subscribe. And but in summary, I think in 2023, personally, I'm really shifting my focus. I know I'm away for all of January, which will be great. Still working, obviously, but working remotely. That'll be a big change. But I'm really going to be doubling down on relationships, just kind of focusing on the things that bring me joy. I felt like this year I was kind of, I was all over the place trying to, find myself, I guess you could say. And I think the year is ending on a really positive note, obviously taking a trip with family. And then, my girlfriend's coming tomorrow actually to Ottawa. So sharing the holidays with her and my family, and then heading to Colombia for January. And then 2023, really focusing on my own personal development and just getting better, a little 1% better every day.
And when you get better, your business is better because you can open up and you can be more mindful with your clients. It's the best. When you're better with yourself, you're better with everyone. Right, guys? Am I right?
100%. What are you guys thinking? 2023, I know it's early. Resolutions or goals for the new year, since this is our last show of the year, or a summary of 2022, either way.
Building better relationships and more and in terms of business, like you said, Paul, I think the focus for next year with certain clients anyways is to have opportunities for them that aren't just Ottawa alone, and try to build opportunities outside of the city for people that want to invest, that may not even have not thought about it, that may not have that much to invest, but there's ways to do it. There are so many opportunities right now with all the technology and everything going on for people to just put a little bit of money all over the place.
Sprinkles?
Little sprinkles.
Sprinkle and dingle.
All over the place.
Sprinkle.
Little real estate.
It doesn't have to be in your backyard. It doesn't have to be in your backyard. As long as you've got the right crew, you can sort it out and get it done. That's what I'm working on personally, and that's what I want to present to other people that I know. I'm working on things right now. I have people that are bringing me opportunities, and I'm expressing it to people that I know, seeing if they're interested. Not everything works, but it's just a matter of time, right? I think everybody needs to, everybody wants to have that passive income stream. Real estate's a big part of it, but it doesn't have to be a property that you own and you're renting it out and it's your only place and your leverage. There's other ways of doing it. Dave.
For myself, I think just improving on my processes and really not kind of focusing on a certain segment of my client base, being able to help them more, focus more on like my investor clients and friends there, and which is what I thoroughly enjoy. I think there'll be a lot of opportunity next year, not only for them, but it's obviously a huge passion of mine. So just honing down my process, not getting stuck in the weeds so much, and also in taking the time. I know it will be a slower year, but from a volume transaction, I believe it will be, at least for the first several months, and taking the time to enjoy that and not actually use that time to unwind. The past few years have been chaotic and a lot of upheaval and running at a feverish pace, and so kind of using this next few months, which I think will be a nice slower pace, to be honest, even though I do thrive on being extremely busy, but at the same time, you can only do that so long. So
you need time to reflect, David.
It's so funny. All of us thrive in high speed chaos,
Absolutely.
But then we also all very much appreciate the calmness.
At least I say that now, and then as soon as I'll come the 27th of December, after I've sat back for 2 days, I'll be like, all right, let's freaking go.
We're gonna get a message from Dave like on New Year's Day being like, I moved to Florida. I bought a complex and
But it's true. Like today, I had a moment today where I have so much that I'm trying to get done that, and I mean, I talked to Paul about it the other day, like you guys do, like I had some moments in the last couple of weeks where I've just totally like, there's so much going on where I couldn't do anything. Like I had to just stop completely because I was like, nothing was getting done. Like I would sit down and then all of a sudden everything else is coming. I'm like, I just couldn't get anything done. So I'm really looking forward to the holiday and just kind of, writing down what is the most important, getting that done, instead of with my creative mad mind, trying to do it all at once. And when I start one thing, the other thing just interrupting me and then just taking me totally off my path. I don't like it. There's a lot that we want to do, guys. We want to do a lot of things, don't we?
We do. I can't remember which book it was, but that's kind of what there was something basically talking about like pluses and minuses in the day. Like, you do something that's a bad habit, it's a -1. You do something that's a positive habit, it's a +1. And basically the goal at the end of the day is to finish with a positive number. I think holistically, that's kind of going to be my focus in 2023 is just kind of deleting some of the negative habits and just overall negative things in my life, and continue to add the things that bring me joy and happiness. Going to double down on my Spanish as well, l'Espagnol. Been practicing a lot down here, which is great, and it's amazing. Honestly, I always get a thrill seeing the faces on Spanish-speaking people when they see the gringo speaking Spanish fairly well. Like actually.
It's interesting, Paul, because I'm doubling down now too, since I'm going to Mexico. So soon enough, you and I, sir, we're
going to have the Ottawa Real Estate podcast in Espanol. Hey,
Simon,
mi casa y su casa. Well, that's awesome. Well, a quick thank you as well to all of our listeners. You stuck with us it's been over almost 2.5 years now. This is episode 113, I think. So. We're going into 2023. I think we all had a good year, a positive year overall. As Dave said, I think the beginning of the year is going to be a bit slower, so it'll give us all time to reflect, grow, and just give even more attention to our clients and all of you listeners in our shows.
I agree.
So I think we're back January 2nd. Is that what we're thinking?
Who knows? We don't want to promise anything
back
here, Paul. We probably won't show up. A car will be dead.
Whatever. Car will be dead. It'll be a missed appointment.
We'll see you when we see you. Listen,
regardless, I'll be
back.
Cottage. I'll be at the cottage from the 30th to the 6th. So
we should be back.
No.
So we'll see.
Greg will be dealing with caterpillars on his toe, or butterflies, or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's right. Eh?
Oh, awesome year. Thank you to you guys too for showing up. I actually, this is one of my favorite parts of the week is doing the show. So it's I think it resonates with listeners, the fact that we're all just ourselves and we're authentic, and it's just, they're a fly on the wall to us three just bantering about real estate.
Bunch of bullshit.
They really get the listeners really get to know if they want to do business with us or not. That's for sure.
But it's true. I'll talk to clients that come from the show and they're like, I feel like I know you. You know, like they've heard me talk for hours about nothing. So, but thank you to everyone listening. Thank you to you guys, and we'll see you in 2023.
All right, love y'all.
Enjoy the rest of your year. Happy holidays. Lights out.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, because we'd really like that.